All right, so I'll pick on the corruption story first. Mahama says we embark on a ruthless war against corruption. Story by Abigail Arthur. John Dramani Mahama, the flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress (NDC), has vowed to launch an uncompromising campaign against corruption if elected. Speaking at the NDC 2024 manifesto launch at the University of Education, Winneba, Mahama outlined his administration's commitment to prohibiting politically exposed persons, political appointees, and public officials from purchasing state assets. Mahama emphasized that this policy would extend to his own family, ensuring that neither he, his wife, nor his children will be allowed to acquire state assets due to their political status. This move, he argues, is essential to restoring public trust and ensuring transparency in government dealings. This is one of many promises made by John Mahama. The NDC titles their manifesto Resetting Ghana. And they've, according to them, identified a number of issues that need or that pushes the agenda for Ghana to be reset. But I intentionally chose to speak on the corruption because there's so much being lost to corruption. So Paul, I'll start with you. The NDC's manifesto, the promises made by John Mahama.
Well, once again, good morning and good morning to our viewers, and a special one to the nurses and doctors at 37 Military Hospital. On Friday, I was there to be checked, and they attended to me swiftly. So P.O. Rexford, thank you, and then W.O. Latin. Now, on the NDC manifesto, I think that the central region, being a swing region, is integral to both parties' victory, if it's anything to go by. And so choosing the central region indeed was quite strategic. And for any political party that intends to win, if you do not win regions like Greater Accra, Central Region, and Western Region, believe me, you are lost. So any attempt or any strategy to get these people on board, Greater Accra, Central Region, Western Region, is in the right direction. So yes, I think that it was quite strategic choosing the Central Region to launch their manifesto. Be that as it may, I think quite a number of promises were mentioned, and chief among them, or chiefly amongst them, is the 24-hour economy. I mean, the explanations have not been forthcoming, if you ask me. But during the launch, I think that the candidate, His Excellency President Mahama, took time to elaborate, shed more light, on the policy. He mentioned that he is going to give some form of tax incentives to all the players within that field, especially the private sector. He also mentioned cheaper energy, for these private players. But where I have my issue is the sort of cheap energy that he is going to get, to support the private sector. We all know the cost of a generation as far as electricity is concerned. We all know the cost of distribution and all of that. So unless, of course, there's going to be some form of strategy where we are going to go green, and that level of investment perhaps could lead to the cheaper, energy that we are looking for. Unless, so that's the caveat there. That notwithstanding, he also mentioned enhanced support from Exim Bank, which I believe is brilliant. And so these are the sort of support that the private sector needs in order to thrive. Having said that, he also mentioned recruitment, in his first 100 days or something.
120 days.
Yes, and that is about specific areas of public sector that he wishes will go under the 24-hour economy. He mentioned the DVLA, the passport office, and then I think he also mentioned the port and harbour. He mentioned that they are going to recruit more immigration officers, more police officers, more custom officers, and all of that. These are critical people needed if indeed that 24-hour 3-shift, per person is going to work. And so the explanation was quite laudable, and I think that it's made a lot of sense now, unlike before. And again, he also argued about uncapping the NHIL, which to me is long overdue. Presently, it's been capped, and so a percentage of whatever we derive from the National Health Insurance Levy goes into the consolidated fund. What he is seeking to do is to take away that element that goes into the consolidated fund and push everything into the authority's account, so that the 100% that is derived goes to service whatever areas we owe service providers, and almost all the healthcare service providers that almost are in arrears, they can be paid, and then some form of dignity can be restored to the holders of NHIA cards. He also talked about the setting up of a trauma hospital in regions which do not have, these ones. And I think it's also in the right direction if indeed they are able to do that and then they win the power. Consumption of locally or made in Ghana goods, which to me is non-negotiable.
Exactly, yeah.
All right, it's not an option.
I absolutely
Listen,
agree.
as a country, presently as we speak, the poultry we consume on a daily, 98%, and I repeat, the poultry we consume in this country, the country called Ghana, 98% are imported.
You have this as a fact.
It's a fact. Look, you can check anywhere.
All these poultry farm associations and all
98%. It means that locally we are only able to support with 2%.
But that's dangerous.
That's how bad our story is. If you have an economy where 98% of the poultry you consume is coming from elsewhere, and then locally you are able to support with just 2%, then it's a failed state.
Yeah.
If one would say ordinary poultry, we cannot produce on a large scale to service, hotels, restaurants, you name it.
Or even our domestic consumption.
Exactly. And so that is how bad our story is. So if we are going to consume locally made goods, like I said, it's non-negotiable. It's not an option. It is just the way to go if our economy needs to be, on the right track. Okay. Again, rice production. To date, we are still importing so much on rice. Let's go to the north. Go to the Volta region, some parts of the Volta region. You realize that locally, and you remember City TV then and ChannelOne, as well as City FM, embarked on this made in Ghana consumption.
Yeah.
It's some
we ran a campaign for a period.
That campaign, yes. And it aroused the interest of many Ghanaians to go into the consumption of locally made rice.
And that's why viewers should actually come to the AMA forecourt this Saturday.
There's one happening?
Yes, we have the This is Ghana exhibition happening at the forecourt of the AMA on Saturday the 31st of August and on Sunday the 1st of September. Beautiful. All things made in Ghana. We are assembling all manufacturers, producers, service providers.
That's nice.
To come. And of course, we'll be having some seminars for SMEs as well.
On the same day?
Yes, on both days, actually.
I think I'll be there.
Yeah.
I'll be there. So, if you have this effort being made, even by the media, pushing that agenda of eating what we grow, but you are still spending so much importing foreign rice into the country. Look at how much we spend even on sugar importation from Brazil and even our neighboring countries.
So what it is that we're depriving our farmers of their lot.
Not just that.
We are empowering
even
someone's economy as against our own. And of course, we are basically promoting an economy in someone else's country instead of ours. Paul,
he mentioned that
wrap it up for me.
yes,
I'll go to Geoffrey and
yes,
then I'll come back and then we'll look at the
also
various.
mentioned that there is going to be a cancellation of ex gratia. For me, I am just excited about that bit, and then realignment of Article 71 holders, and then those of us who are under the Fair Wages and Salaries
Will
Commission.
it be regressive or to be progressive? Because he currently enjoys ex gratia. No, but I hope you get what I'm saying.
I get you.
Yeah.
I get you. But you see, to the extent that a member of parliament who is going to go out, okay, if he wins, he comes in. Now, the moment parliament is dissolved on the night of 6th January, okay, to usher in the new parliament, perhaps on the 7th of January, it will mean that all those people who do not get the chance or who are not elected or re-elected will receive their ex gratia. And guess what? Even those who are re-elected will still take ex gratia.
Because they have served one parliament already. Geoffrey.
How are we helping the coffers and the purse of the state?
Yeah.
We are not helping.
Already there's not enough in it.
We don't even have it.
We don't have it.
We are still at IMF.
Okay. And it's going to get worse when we start servicing our debts.
You tell me you come back. So
yes, I'll come back to you. Let me go to Geoffrey. His initial thoughts.
Before we discuss the political parties, there's some good morning to Franklin Cudjoe and Imani. Wonderful job they did in 2020. In 2020, Franklin Cudjoe and some expatriate students, interns, they did something for Ghana. What they did was, for about 7 political parties I have on this table here, they divided into quantifiable promises. I mean, promises of the political parties.
Yeah.
Quantifiable promises, semi-quantifiable, and then the non-quantifiable promises.
Okay.
Let me take the 2 major political parties. For the NDC and the NPP, on the quantifiable promises, the NDC made 6, the NPP made none, according to their analysis. The semi-quantifiable one, the NPP made 12, the NDC made none. For the non-quantifiable ones, the NDC made 14, the NPP made 21. Total promises, the NPP made 33, the NDC made 20. Technically, if you analyze, it was a prophecy. And I'll tell you why. I mean, if you could see
the non-quantifiable ones were more than the quantifiable ones.
If you see in America, polls are not sacrosanct, but when they take a research and then they project it, the outliers are very few. It tells you how smart they are. If you look at this one, then that means as far back as 2020, interns at Imani could see that some of the promises were not achievable. Others were semi, you can quantify them, and then others, it was easy to believe that you can do it.
Yeah.
Now let's go to the NDC. This is beautiful for our democracy. I mean, it is a continuity of what the practice is. And then also, I think it gives you and I, like that table I just read, you can just put all these information into the ones that are quantifiable, those that are semi-quantifiable, and those that they are totally not quantifiable. And that should advise you.
Yeah.
While moving forward, I heard about corruption. The state assets, I think, is very, very important. The 24-hour economy they talked about. I told you I was already a proponent of night and dawn economy on your tax dialogue series already. So this actually met my idea of what we should do. Let us quickly mention that this is not novel. Other countries are already doing it. And even in country, airport shell are running,
the health sector.
OA is running 24-hour, the minivans. I mean, so it is not new. But this is where they are talking about bringing in a policy to guide it, to expand it to other sectors and see how it works. Now, he spoke, let me go to one thing that you can compare to the free SHS. I come from a school of proper targeting. You see, we shouldn't always open it. It's like putting a giraffe on a goat on a level platform and asking them to stretch to the trees.
Yeah.
I mean, it cannot be done every day. The reason why you bring some of these poor policies is to actually hold in those who are challenged.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's a careless statement was like, you hear people say, "One ban and on tenefi, na no more be attaching." Near or be pa or 10,000 cedis a month. On an event, fees. So, are you on leap?
So you think we should
Properly target
the vulnerable
so exactly
in society who actually need some of these interventions?
And then the argument when we started with the free SHS was that how do we get to identify these people? Are you on leap?
No, I'm not.
Am I on leap?
No.
Is he on leap? So those children from leap homes automatically qualify for such a scheme like free SHS.
Yeah.
And then this first year university policy that the NDC is proposing. So that policy of giving it for free for all, I do not agree.
Well, we've not seen the final document on it.
Before I get to the final document, it was stated clearly that first year students
it's for all.
I am totally against it. That blanket approach. You know, it is a not for me.
It should be
targeted. I
targeted.
mince words with it. Properly targeted, ensure that those people who are in dire need of it get that thing, and then cut it at a level. It is the reason why, you see, ironically, the flag bearer of the NDC has stated clearly that he will properly check the GET fund and see the beneficiaries of the GET fund, ensuring that, I mean, you don't see ministers. How on earth, for use of better words, how wicked can you be? You are an MP, you are taking salaries, and you are even talking about the ice glacier today. And they want to be on GET fund.
But were they not the same people who were receiving the scholarships?
The scholarships.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
It is, in fact, fufu, it smells. How do you do that? who are these people? Who are these people? They have no shame. Who are these people? Who are these cheap people? I give you Gracia, I give you car loan. You come back again and read. And these are people sharing phones. I told you. They are sharing
accommodation.
Look, they are sharing phones and laptops today. And just in January, when they are going to be sworn in office, they'll start coming back to me for car loans. Let's be honest. Have empathy for those who are taking 1,000 cedis a month. Some are taking 700 cedis a month. Husband and wife combine their salaries, and it's less than 2,000 cedis. These are the persons we have to talk about when they're talking about free SHS, not just everybody else. And then the first 120 days, Mama has stated some things that he will do.
Yeah.
This is where you say it's measurable. You can measure that this is what
25 things actually.
So the few of them, the banking institutions. Look, I heard from the Dr. Baumia, and I'm just quickly to the reason why we should go into that matter. It's the reason why we should go there. He says Mahama cannot do it just off the top of his hands.
Yeah, and he requires the courts.
So you know, were there courts in this country when they were taking away the banks? Where did they receive advices from the Attorney General? Did they receive advices from business community? Leave it there. We will not go into it. We'll wait for that day that we will have to go back and investigate these things and see why we did that one. Especially when we know that 10,000 cedis was the money in debt. And then we use about 30 cedis, 30,000 to actually look.
To clean up.
Don't worry, we'll get there one day. The illegal money printing is an allegation I don't know about, but President Mahama sits at a place maybe he will have information. PDS, Ejapa, SML. Of all the things he mentioned here, these are monies that we heard was giving out. Kwalugu, 11-point-something million dollars. You heard it, right? You are interested. Ejapa, you've heard it. You are interested. The irony about Ejapa is that the accusation is that the NDC were the ones who actually did the document and they are updating it. So it means there's an acceptance that it is happening. So we have to be interested in the one. Meanwhile, I should add it to the former president. If he gets the nod, he should also notice that there's Frontiers deal. In fact, the company that called itself Frontiers, and they came out here fronting because they took their deal and then took it back to Noguchi to go and do it. And then SML, all these ones, plus the Crow deal. You should also have the Crow deal.
All right.
Now, honestly, like I talked about the proper targeting, where I divulge with him again is about the betting tax. Lotto, the normal national lotteries, they take taxes from them. They take off. So the betting tax, I don't agree he should do that. The state assets, I want it to be that they should set up to put into place a law. I diverge with him a little bit again on that one too, when he talks about state officials and his family. No. We don't want that. For the whole of Ghana, not even an adopted Ghanaian should even go for our state asset. Nobody. We should protect the state assets. And if you have to go and touch a state asset, the parliament must explain to us why. Because I don't understand why somebody should go and take a company from state. It works. But the people who are trained by the same Ghanaian system cannot manage it. Say, look, it is a total leave the state asset.
Right.
And then DVLA,
he
should reintroduce the toll booth and then place it at the DVLA. Because like he's saying, he's going to run the DVLA for 24 hours. Thank God somebody's thinking like that. But the DVLA should be the persons to take the road tolls so that we decongest the roads.
Right.
I've said this over and over. I hope they will take it into their discussions.
All right, we'll come back to it and look at the 25 points he has outlined for his first 150 days. This is the news review segment. We're getting into the details of the various stories that made it to the headlines of the dailies this morning. And we're discussing the NDC's manifesto launch over the weekend. John Mahama has promised a 120-day social contract with the people of Ghana. In this contract, he's outlined 25 things he seeks to do within his first 120 days. I'll briefly touch on some of this, and then we'll get into a conversation on them. One, he says he will nominate within the first 14 days the complete list of cabinet ministers for parliamentary approval. 2, constitute the leanest and most efficient government under the Fourth Republic in his first 90 days in office. He will establish a robust code of conduct and standards for all government officials, hold a national economic dialogue to discuss the true state of the economy, and prepare a homegrown fiscal consolidation program to guide the budget. Now, within his first 90 days in office, he says he will scrap the following draconian taxes to alleviate hardships and ease the high cost of doing business: e-levy, COVID levy, 10% levy on bet winnings, and emissions levy. John Mahama also says that within his first 90 days in office, he will review taxes and levies on vehicles and equipment imported into the country for industrial and agricultural purposes. He goes on and on and on and lists a number of things: no academic fee policy for all first-year students in public tertiary institutions, seed money for the establishment of Women's Development Bank. He will launch priority job creation programs in the first budget, a Jumeirah program, national apprenticeship program, and 1 million coders program. So, I mean, Paul, the former president, the flag bearer of the NDC, clearly has an agenda. He's targeted something he wants to do within his first 120 days. If you look at the things he's mentioned, how feasible are they?
Thank you. Some of them quite ambitious, and some of them also very feasible and very achievable. I have always said that I don't believe in the school of thought that talks about impossibility. I believe that anything we decide, we put our mind to it collectively, we can do it, and it is possible. Having said that, there's a talk about lean government.
Yes.
He mentioned 60 ministers. That is where I disagree with him.
You don't think the 60 is lean enough?
No. You see, as a country that is as desperate as we are, the last research I did, we can do with 31 to 35 ministers, maximum. And these were my reasons. I even posted it on my wall, that we can have a local government, that local government ministry, we can align the culture, the chieftaincy, and religious affairs to that ministry. We can have a trade and industry, and then we can align tourism to that ministry. I have the explanations, but because of time, I will not go into it. We can have the agriculture and add fisheries and aquaculture to that ministry. We can have employment, we can have the youth, and we can have the sports all under one umbrella. All right? Everything is about the youth, sports, employment, and all of that can be aligned and brought under one umbrella. One. And then the next one is the natural resources, lands, works, and housing. These, I mean, lands and natural resources are basically the same thing. All right? It is out of that land that we do all the housing that we do. All right? So we can bring also that umbrella, I mean, all of those ministries under one umbrella. Then interior and national security, we can merge them. It is possible
Including
to merge
defense?
them. No. Interior and national security can be merged. Defense can be on its own. Communication and information can be merged. Justice, gender, and social protection. This is where we need to, if you like, wean off the justice aspect of the Attorney General and justice from that angle, so that the Attorney General can stand on its own.
As the AG and not a minister.
And then the Justice Ministry can also exist on its own. However, we can add the gender and then the social protection bit to that ministry. You can have your finance ministry, you can have the defense ministry, you can have the Attorney General, you can have the energy ministry, you can have foreign affairs and all of that. And then you come to the regionals. Then the regionals, these were my points. The regionals is that you can appoint a regional minister, but each of these regions, by virtue of the local government minister responsible for all of them, you can also have the regional coordinating directors. They will be assisting the minister. So there's no need for appointing a deputy. So
but I think currently there are no deputies, right, for the regions?
Yeah. All the 16.
No, for the regions, I don't think
there should be no deputies. There should be no deputies whatsoever. All right, and these were 31 in all. So give or take, if there is any disagreement whatsoever, I'm not sure we should go beyond 35 as a country. Okay, so these were my suggestions. Then where I also disagreed with him was the bed for all students. Yes, it's good to have bed for all students, but why must it be the private sector that is driving this and not the government? Listen, the lands on the campuses of these institutions belong to the institutions. Government, what you can do, I mean, it doesn't cost so much putting up structures or hostels for these students. Listen, whether you like it or yes, if the private developer comes in, no matter the sort of negotiations or agreement, definitely the price will not be the same as somebody, in any of the government hostels. All right. So if it's a priority of the government, then perhaps our resources should be able to, offset that. Let's put our resources in there, build hostel facilities for students who are not on campuses, so that at the end of the day, we would not have students having to travel so long distances just to come for lectures and what have you. Okay, let us resource the institutions, let us put the structures there, take out the private sector. Yes, they can be doing their own thing elsewhere, but you as a government must make it a priority in making sure that you have accommodation for students as and when they come to the campus. Then he talks about Starlink for all senior high schools. You see, when it comes to satellite and fiber, the cost implications are different. Satellite is very expensive. The least for the installation of a Starlink is about 7,000 to 8,000 cedis per person. So look at the cost involved. Look at the number of senior high schools we have. It's quite expensive. If it is the fiber we want to go in making sure that the 4G spectrum that we have given out runs successfully, then we can look at that and make sure that all the senior high schools have these infrastructure and it is working efficiently and effectively on all the campuses. Are you with me? That perhaps is the way to go. But if you are looking at the satellite, believe you me, the cost is going to be more than even what we are paying for free senior high school, at that level. Yes. Because, 7,000 per head.
And about 800 cedis a month. For unlimited data.
It's just not feasible.
And I think the argument about bringing Starlink in to reduce data prices will not wash, because even in Africa, how many subscribers or customers does Starlink have? In Ghana, how many customers does it have? How many customers does MTN have?
Currently, it can boast of about 3 million subscribers, not just in Ghana, across board.
But in Ghana, how many?
MTN alone goes about 20-something million
So for the next 5 to 10 years, fiber will still be dominant.
Will still reign,
and
yes.
so, I mean, you can't tell me
I
that
think,
Starlink is coming now. And
Barnabas Nilai did a post on that, and I think he was quite elaborate on this particular topic.
Yeah, because, I mean, if you work the maths,
it's not the way to go. So maybe we should just consider the fiber aspect and make sure that it is working efficiently and effectively on all the campuses. Having said that, he talked about cancellation of double track, which for me is the way to go. Yeah. We cannot have students go in there 3 weeks and come back and stay home for 4 months and 3 months. It is not the way to go. That is not the sort of education some of us had. We were on the campuses for 3 months and we were, they vacated or we vacated, came home, sometimes 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 1 month, and then we were made to go back. That is the way it's supposed to run. Students' accommodation on these campuses is an eyesore. Yeah. And so construction of new dormitories as early as possible as part of his 100 days, if he wins the elections, should be one of his priorities. Yeah. And then their food. I think he mentioned decentralizing that and then we consuming locally made food. I think it's in the right direction. Right. So these are things which are feasible, but the Starlink bit, it is not feasible. It cannot support our budget. Again, the bed for all, I think that government should rather take the initiative, build these hostels for these students and not allow the private sector take center stage. Yes.
Right. Geoffrey, so 25 points, targets, these are the things John Mahama wants to do in his first 120 days. Your thoughts?
I'm sure my brother has done a lot of good justice with it, and I'll end with, quickly to say that, look, for me, you'd realize my interest around the corruption with it. Yeah. I tell you what, as a revenue person, I'll be doing myself a disservice and this country a disservice if I don't put my eagle eye around it. Because revenue collection, you have collected the money. I mean, the best way to go local with you. Kwancha DFA. It is kind of now. Yakos says kana babe to futuro na kobra ne kwad ni sa boom. Now we didn't I just we did them. I mean, we fe ni ake wo ke futuro mi wo ke scare ba wo ni ke moko mepe heten ke he kon yo be ba go afen. So I mean, we should be sure that look, what we collect goes in to do exactly what it is meant to do. What it does is that it actually gives people the strength to comply with tax laws, and then they actually give out the monies. Ask yourself, sorry, why are people easily able to give tithes than taxes? So I mean, perfectly, I think it is not only investigating and prosecuting to include only jailing. Look, I've heard and seen things happen at the Public Accounts Committee. My disagreement is the fact that, look, we've not heard more about recouping the money. You remember the Wyoming case. It's not only about identifying the issue. It's also about recouping the money. You saw the way his assets were seized, his monies were withdrawn. That's what I'm talking about. I mean, for me, it is interesting to hear that they are going to investigate and actually put people to the laws and ensure that we get all these assets back. After we've gotten, there should be a strict law. The grabbing, look, the one-ton grabbing. Some of us were beneficiaries. My dad worked in a state institution, and I live in a flat. I saw the benefits that accrued for some of us. So you cannot just wake up one day and decide that you are going to graze down government properties and then sell it to private people. When I heard PPP, public-private partnership, I didn't hear it in the sense that we are going to be giving the assets of state to private people. No. Government to assist private persons to expand their businesses through collaboration so they can have projects in common. It could be a government total assistance, having the technical know-how and giving the private sector support in that partnership. That's what I thought. I didn't think of the private sector coming to take state assets at very cheap prices. So I think we should go into it. And my interest is that, no, I've sounded it in a humble warning. When these things start, anybody who is ready to go to the courts to thwart the efforts of the courts should be ready to face some of us. Because in a case like Palugu, if I'm hearing over $11 million and such a person is questioned at the court and you come that it is witch hunting, some of us will turn into wolves and will hunt you. You the one coming to touch the
Exactly 11.9 million.
Let's tone it
So,
down. Let's tone it down.
No,
I get you, but let's
my
tone it
brother,
down.
Look, $11.9 million.
Right.
How much do we need to go and buy dialysis machines?
Even the 0.9 can do a lot of magic for us.
And people died. And as we speak right now, the psychological trauma of somebody sitting down and thinking, look, this country can't help me again because we don't have dialysis machine. What is dialysis machine? What is it? I mean, I'm saying if you are a normal person sitting down and thinking about health and the fact that somebody is going to die, and then you can use $11.9 million in our young age, you talk and say, you do a say, wow. These are scams. These are scams. I mean, Crow deal, $1 million gone. A minister of health sits down, sends money outside this country, and then the money is nowhere to be found. The COVID medicine also didn't come.